From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.
Let's see. There we go. Hello. Finicky Mike there, but good morning. This is Craig Allison with your Morning Pulse for Tuesday, February 3rd. Before we get into our big headlines this morning, question of the day was, majority of people say it's not okay to do this at work. What is it? I said sleep is my personal answer, but turns out the answer today was take your shoes off. So please don't do that. That's actually pretty gross. But anyways, if you want to participate in our question of the day, be sure to head over to our 1011 Facebook page, put in your guess in the comments. We'll share your guesses during our show and then read off the answer as well on 1011 this morning. Now, that being said, we have a lot of local and big headlines to get into, so we'll kick things off with our first story. Police say 26-year-old Hannah Neville and her husband, who was reported missing shortly after she was, are both likely dead. Yesterday morning, LPD announcing the arrest of Sterling James and Sadie Titus of Lincoln. James arrested on suspicion of first-degree murder and Titus of aiding and abetting. Investigators say James is the half-brother of Roberto Tanner, Hannah's husband, but what led up to the murder is still under investigation. Hannah Neville was last seen on January 15th, around the time she and her husband traveled to multiple locations in and around Lincoln, including the apartment of Sterling James and Sadie Titus. Hannah's car was also found lit on fire near 39th and Cornhusker on January 16th.
Officers called Hannah that morning to advise her of the fire, but her phone number was no longer in service. We now believe that was because she was likely already deceased at the time.
Now, again, there is a lot of questions raised in this case that we hope to eventually answer, but right now, police say they're searching several locations for the missing bodies, but wouldn't clarify what those locations are. Your second story, and new this morning, 2 missing sisters from Florida are safe, and an Omaha man is behind bars after investigators say he kidnapped the girls and took them across state lines. According to the Martin County Sheriff's Office, that's out of southern Florida, just below Orlando, just above Miami. Investigators then say the 12 and 15-year-old sisters were reported missing over the weekend. They then found investigators had been talking online with 19-year-old Hermila Say of Omaha. First through the gaming platform Roblox, then through Snapchat, communicating with those 12 and 15-year-old sisters. Say then allegedly drove from Omaha to Florida and picked the sisters up. The Georgia State Patrol stopped his vehicle and found both girls safe inside. Say now faces several charges, including kidnapping, and we now have this up online if you want to read more about this case. Your third story, during Monday's city council meeting, developers presented details on a new apartment complex that's been years in the making at 18th and N. Another seed connecting the growing bridge between downtown and the Telegraph District. 87 units are planned for the spot. You can see that design plan right there. But Jamie Tallman, the owner at N Street and Drive-In, says while the neighborhood has grown in the store's 60-plus years here, they're always happy to welcome new neighbors willing to shop on the south side of O Street to find places to shop.
We've had some development to the north, but that is a little bit cut off by O Street. People don't want to cross that. So having it actually in the neighborhood where you don't have to cross any major streets will be great for us. I've just been kind of looking out my office window, looking at the empty lot, being like, let's go, let's build it. I can't wait till it's done.
Readjusting Speedway Properties' original plans from 2023 for about $5 million of inflation in supplies and construction was the original speed bump, why this wasn't already up. But now the $25 million complex hopes to begin construction sometime this year and finish by 2028. City says there could be even more improvements for this area in the future. City Council set to vote on the project during next week's meeting. We reached out to Speedway Properties for more on the development, but they were unavailable for comment. Your fourth story, a Nebraska State Patrol trooper narrowly avoided being hit by a sliding car last week. You can see it right there as ice conditions triggered a series of crashes on I-80 just west of Lincoln. This is crazy video. Again, if you can see this, if you're listening to it, head over to our website to watch. But you could just see how close that hit was. According to NSP, the troopers were helping stranded motorists when an out-of-control car drove into the scene, crashing into one of the cars already pulled over. Despite only light snowfall, NSP said that there were multiple slide-offs in a short span of time. Now, wrapping things up with your final story this morning, on January 20th, Tyson Foods officially closed their beef plant in Lexington, leaving 3,000 people without jobs. On the first Saturday since the closure, families showed support for one another during these uncertain times on the soccer field and in a local sanctuary. About 30 soccer teams battled it out on the field, but everybody was dealing with a heavy loss.
I really hope with the whole Tyson closure thing, doesn't really affect the clubs and everything. So I really hope my son gets to see this town where I grew up.
Tyson even sponsored many activities at the field house. For many in the stands, the games are a good break from job searching. In the meantime, other community members seeking solace in a different way. At St. Anne's Catholic Church, through those doors, parishioners were praying and lighting candles for the town of Lexington. When the news broke last November, St. Anne's held a 24-hour prayer service. To help, Religious Education Director Cesar Sanchez says their parish is using donations from in and out of state. For more on this story that our Grace McDonald did, you can head over to 1011now.com and check it out. That's going to be your morning pulse for this Tuesday morning. And before we throw things over to Brandon Rector with the full forecast, here's a quick look at your 7-day. Things are going to start heating up later on.
Good Tuesday morning. Meteorologist Brandon Rector with you in the 1011 Severe Weather Center. We are going to be mostly cloudy to cloudy for today across much of the area. We will have winds out of the northwest, north, or northeast at around 5 to 10, maybe 15 miles per hour. There is a 10 to 20% chance of some sprinkles and flurries as we go through the majority of today. However, in the western part of the state, late this afternoon into the evening, a 30 to 40% chance of rain and snow showers will develop. Very little to no snow accumulation is expected. Temperatures at noon today ranging from the upper 20s to upper 40s. At 4, we're in the low 30s to low 50s. And by 8 this evening, temperatures in the upper 20s to low 40s. In Lincoln for today, looks like our high temperature is going to be a little below average at 35. Our average high for today's date is 37. It will be mostly cloudy, and there's that slight chance of flurries through the day.
From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.